Ladies and gentlemen, this is Under Review, the most controversial show in the Major Arena Soccer League. My name is Phil Lavanco. That is the head of officials for the MASL, Ryan Cigich. We take the most controversial calls from the weekend, playoff weekend, I must say, and Ryan shares his opinion. Ryan, you were in San Diego. You were introducing VAR to the MASL, Video Assistant Referee. How do you think it went?
Growing pains.
Ryan, let's start with the great contest between the Savage and Milwaukee Wave. Milwaukee wants a handball right here, but I think the refs got this one correct. The arm is at Macias's side, and in my opinion, he doesn't make himself unnaturally bigger. So I don't have a handball on this one. What do you say?
I agree. I have no handball here. Macias' arm is down to his side, and there's no movement toward the ball. In fact, I think he's moving his arm away from the ball as he's turning, which makes himself a little bit smaller. His hand is in a justifiable position. Also to note, I mean, at best, this would have been just a free kick as it occurs outside of the penalty area, and it doesn't stop a shot on goal. So this was never going to be a blue card anyways, as it wasn't tactical.
Okay, let's go to the other end now, and Chihuahua is now challenging for this play in the box, the ball bouncing off of Mario Alvarez's arm. But we got a live ruling from Rich Grady on the broadcast on this one, and I agree with the decision. Ryan, can you explain why this is not a handball?
Well, there is contact with the ball and Mario's left hand inside the penalty area. However, he plays the ball and he kicks it up into his own hand. So this is not considered a handball, and the rationale here is that why would a player ever deliberately kick the ball into their own hand or arm? Therefore, no handball in this scenario.
And this isn't just an indoor rule. This is an IFAB law as well, correct?
Correct, Phil. I mean, this is just a universal expectation in soccer with handball.
Last play from this game, Milwaukee is not happy that a foul wasn't called on Romero before the game-winning goal here, and I feel for the Wave and Milwaukee fans. Could this have been called a foul? Maybe, but the ref is right there watching the play. So if he doesn't have a foul, I don't have a foul. And Ryan, is this even reviewable?
This is a tough one for me, and I feel here for Milwaukee too, the way this ended. And, if the counterattack goal doesn't happen, then we're not even talking about this, obviously. For me, I prefer a foul here. But as you said, we do have referee Elvis, who's right on top of the play and determines that this is normal play based on the context and moment in the game. So it's a subjective judgment call. The other big question here, as you said, is how do we define the attacking phase of play? Because our VAR policy states that where the attacking team gains possession as a result of a clear and obvious foul in the attacking possession phase that directly leads to a goal being scored. For me, this was a foul I would like to have seen called in real time, but does it meet the parameters? One, for VR, and two, is it 100% clear and obvious error, or is it just a subjective judgment?
Chihuahua versus St. Louis now, and Ryan, Cesar Ruiz is doing exactly what I tell my U10 basketball team: box out. Now, it's illegal play in basketball, but is this legal in soccer?
Well, this is another tight subjective judgment call. So for me, SK is impeded by Ruiz. He is blocked off the ball, and Ruiz doesn't play the ball. He creates that path there for Romero. I think it has direct impact on the scoring of the goal, unlike the one in Milwaukee that we just talked about. So ideally, as a referee, we want to get this in real time. But I do think that even on VR, this was enough to overturn the goal. But Ibarra and Saini looked at this. They felt like it was just normal play, not enough contact, and not enough of a 100% error.
Empire versus San Diego. Sockers want a handball on Alme in the build-up to this Empire goal. No handball is called on the field, and my threshold for this one is crazy high, but in my opinion, the review angles do not confirm a handball, so for me, the goal should have stood.
Well, his arm is down to his side. It's close to his body at the point of contact. It's not extended away from his body, and there's no movement toward the ball. So he doesn't deliberately touch it. And I think his arm is in a justifiable position. Also the same question here comes into play as we discussed earlier was, does this constitute an attacking phase of play, where in this case there's 5 touches before the goal? So the correct call here by Radford and Wilkins for no handball, and this is a good goal.
We've got a tussle between Justin Stinson and Gabriel Costa. A review was initiated for blue cards, but I just have general play here. Ryan, what do you have on this play?
Yeah, Phil, you're right again. Boy, you could be a ref maybe next year.
Hey
but,
now!
Justin is grabbing and holding just a bit from behind, then Gabriel brings his left arm up and back, just takes a little swing. That's the foul that was called, and I agree with that whistle there. And then comes the hard push from Justin, but the whistle had already been blown. So the reason why this went to VR is that Empire challenged for a blue card against Costa, which in my opinion didn't rise to the level of severity, and Wilkins and Radford agreed, and they stayed with the free kick only in favor of Empire, the call that was originally made.
Okay, last play from this Empire-San Diego game. End of the first half, and a blue card on Marco Fabian for tripping. Ryan, this is pretty straightforward. It's a blue card here.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, Phil. I mean, yes, it's blatant. It's from behind, and there's no play on the ball. So usually when you say those three things, it sounds like a blue card. However, it comes after Tavoy contacts Marco in the back just a few seconds before, and there's hardly any force to it. And, I didn't feel like the game just needed it at this point. And quite frankly, from a practical standpoint, there's no way I'm putting Fabian in the box in a playoff game for a low-level severity type of kick. So I preferred no blue card here.
If I could challenge you real quick, though, if you hit all of those criteria, and it's very obviously retaliatory, to me, that's a blue card.
I mean, I hear you, Phil, but it's a playoff game, and it's kind of a baby kick.
Rules are rules, Ryan. Didn't you teach me that? Kansas City, Milwaukee now in the quarterfinals. The Comets were not happy that this goal was allowed to stand. My only question on this one, Ryan, is if the referees have to place the ball before a restart.
We do not have to place the ball, so that's point number one there. The issue here is the ball placement, as the ball has to be within 3 feet of the location of the foul. So then the question becomes, when is the foul called? I agree with the foul as Rion's right arm elbow comes up and gets the opponent in the head there. But also to note, by our VR policy, ball placement is not reviewable. However, since it resulted in a goal, we did take a look at it. And I think here in hindsight, Milwaukee got a really big break on this, as I think if we got a tape measure out and measured the spot, the free kick I think was taken from greater than 3 feet from the spot of the foul.
Ryan, this isn't the NFL. I don't know how we're going to tape measure these video review challenges.
Well, that's my point. It's not exact.
Ricardo Cavallo's goal was disallowed for a handball on the attacker after a video review. And Ryan, I'll be honest, when I watched this live, I didn't like this call at all. I was like, no way, this is a handball. But after watching it over and over from that game angle and that game angle only, I do think we have enough evidence to overturn the goal for a handball.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know what Ricardo's so mad about on this one. When dealing with the goal scorer, if the ball contacts the player's hand in any way, it's handball, even if accidentally. So the arm being in a justifiable position is not relevant. And, the rationale for this is that if the ball contacts an attacker's hand and then that attacker scores, it just isn't a fair outcome. So this one really isn't controversial to me at all. I think it's pretty clear that the ball accidentally contacts Ricardo's right hand, goes straight down to his foot, and he's off to goal and scores.
That's it for today's show. And Ryan, I appreciate the invite to become a referee, but is there really a market for 43-year-old referees with bad knees?
No, probably not. We can make you a VAR, though.
I like it. I'll do that.